everybody. Oh man, Mimi, you're right. I do need an intro. Welcome to the Poppy Montega show on the big exclusive network. I'm Poppy Montega. We're gonna switch gears a little bit tonight and get back to a little seriousness. And I felt it was time for this conversation amongst the network, amongst my following on social media, amongst the people who watch and choose not to comment, amongst the people who choose to watch back. We're going to talk about urban gun violence tonight. What's up, Hadia? Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being early. Thank you for being early. Yes. I'm going to wait till some more people get in here before we actually dive deep. Everybody that is watching, do me a favor and just share like we always do on the network here. But Mr. Tim Davis, how you doing? Good evening, sir. Good evening. Please stick around. Please stick around. It's going to be very interactive tonight. And I feel like black people, especially black people, are not gonna like what I have to say. Peace, good brother. How you doing? Welcome. Our kind especially is not gonna like what I have to say tonight. But nobody seems to be coming up with any solutions. Good evening, Miss Carter. Welcome. Good evening. Am I coming across clear enough for you guys? Am I loud and clear? Urban gun violence. To start it off, though, y'all hear about the whole takeoff situation recently, right? And how the story keeps changing and switching. Too many stories going around, whatever the case may be. Unnecessary violence. Granted, that's not urban, but at the same time, it's still cultural. You know what I mean? And it's something that has to be fixed within the culture. Now, first and foremost, if y'all follow me and follow my posts and follow when I troll and stuff like that, and when I am talking intellectually, however you want to say it, one thing I do make clear is it's not just us. It's not just us. All cultures kill each other. You know what I mean? They focus on us because they make the money off of us. Now, I'm not going to get on here and be anti-Semitic. I'm not going to get on here and get on my Kanye or my Kyrie Irving, whoever you choose to subscribe to. You know what's crazy about that situation? They're saying the same message. Okay, Miss Mimi, thank you. They're saying the same message, and people are trying to find a way to make it different. Like, I could get what Kyrie talking about. Kanye was on some BS. Bro, they saying the same thing. They're saying the same thing. If you stop with the programming and actually use your own brain for once and pay attention, you'll realize they are saying the same thing. But anyway, I have a guest tonight because I really wanted to have a serious conversation about this urban gun violence. And I usually don't share this information, but I asked how would she like to be introduced. And she sent me a whole bio and said, pick what you want to pick. And as I was reading the bio, I said it would be an injustice to not read the whole bio. So before I bring on Miss Divine Fortson, I have to read this bio to you guys. Divine Fatima Fortson biography. Divine Fatima Fortson is the founder of Divine Intervention, Life Coaching, and Credit Solutions, LLC. She is a certified empowerment coach and a graduate of the Life Coach Institute, which was founded by Dr. Shad Hemstetter. I hope I pronounced that correctly. PhD. She also holds certifications in financial literacy, in mental health and crisis intervention. Her unique coaching program uses a combination of cognitive behavior techniques and various skill building to package a great program that is relevant for any lifestyle. Her program's specialties include self-improvement workshops, credit education, customer service training, teen empowerment programs, anger management sessions, and domestic violence advocacy resources. She is also a resource specialist with Essential Health and Wellness Organization, which is a nonprofit organization whose purpose is to promote ultimate health through education and awareness. She is a humanitarian and an advocate for justice. Her passion and mission is to provide valuable life skills, career training, and financial literacy to bridge the gap of social and economic disadvantage in undeserved and overlooked communities. If you haven't put two and two together, all the things that we need to help fix this violence in the urban community. With no more to be said, welcome Ms. Divine Fortson.
Thank you. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you for having me.
Hello, Ms.
How you
Fortson.
doing?
Hello, Ms. Fortson.
All right. Can you hear me? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm hanging in there, doing good.
Thank you for taking the time out to have this conversation with me tonight. I don't you know from behind the scenes, I don't like to really have conversations unless we're coming up with some solutions.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I do have a couple of questions. First and foremost, if you would like to dive a little deeper into your bio for the people that's tuned in and tell them a little more what you do.
Okay, so I'm a certified empowerment coach and a resource specialist. I started in like 2011. I founded Divine Intervention Life Coaching. At that time, I didn't have the credit repair on. I was just doing the life coaching because I saw that there was a need in our community to heal our community, and it needed to start within ourselves. So I got laid off of a job that I was working at, like a waste company I was working at for like 6 or 7 years, got laid off. And that time I decided to go ahead and start the business because a part of my personality was always a person who liked to help people, to help people be in the best environment that they can be in, live the best life that they can be in. So I said, I might as well take what my skills are, my passion, and develop it into something that can help me sustain myself as well. So here it is, 11 years later, I'm still doing the work. I'm still out in the community speaking to people, and I just want to reach more people, and I just want us to have this conversation about, like you were saying, when I saw the title, I just said, this is perfect, because I'm not a person that really likes to get on the camera. You know what I'm saying? I like to play the background. I like to help people, but I like the one-on-one, but you have to come and speak about injustices to be able to help our community. So that's what I'm doing. I'm here today, with you and in good company, ready to have real conversations.
Yes. And anybody else that's tuned in, if you would like to join, just let it be known that we'll make sure you get the link so you could join in on the conversation. Miss Fatima, are you one of those people that subscribes to the violence has everything to do with the pandemic? Everything was cool before then.
No, I'm not, because I know that, the violence was out here prior to all of this going on. I mean, it's a lot of ignorance, I would say, so to speak, that is going on in our communities, where I was talking about this online the other day, where we are people who are living in toxicity, and some of us think that it's okay and that it's cool, and a lot of people are just regurgitating information, and it's not okay, and we have to check ourselves. And me and you had a conversation, I think, about this before. We have to hold ourselves accountable. So to answer your questions, and you answer your question, no, I don't think that this is something that happened after the pandemic. It's been a lot of things that are going on, pre-generation, post-generation, whatever the case. We need to speak about social ills in our communities and things in that nature.
Yeah, so we're in agreement that it's a combination of things, but at the same time, we could fix it within ourselves pretty much. So,
Absolutely.
in your opinion, where would we start?
And in my opinion, it starts with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
starts with accountability with ourselves. It starts with each one teach one. It starts with compassion.
Right.
But first and foremost, I think it's going to start with the youth,
Hmm.
because if we can get the ear of the youth, if we can speak to them, if we can change the narrative of the situation and some of the culture negative things that are going on, we could adjust and we could reclaim our black family,
Right.
so I think that what we need to do is we have to talk about, social media. We have to talk about using social media as the platform that you have, that you're responsible for what you say on there. So we have to talk
Right.
about the negatives of it as well as the positive, because we see people just doing trends, all types of TikTok trends that are hurting people and being harmful and everything like that, causing the gun violence and everything like that. But we also have to talk about how we can use our platform for good, and how
Right.
we can be on here and speaking to the youth about bullying, about self-esteem, about financial literacy, things that they can use so that they can change the situation that they're in now and the crisis
So,
that we have now.
so you feel like it's going to take some time, though?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to take some time, because it didn't happen overnight. We're not sitting
Right.
here, you know what I'm saying, because these situations just happened yesterday. These are a lot of, we're dealing with, like I say, post-traumatic slave syndrome. You
Right.
get up. So it's a lot of post-traumatic slave syndrome going on, plus just people having, you know, issues and trauma from our families, not being able to have the man and the women in the household together,
Right.
children having children. So we have to learn how to be mothers. We have to learn how to be fathers. We have to learn how to be human beings all over again.
Shout out to everybody that's in the comments. Miss Lily stepped in the building saying good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Miss Hadia said assalamu alaikum to you,
Walaikum
Miss
salam.
Fatima.
Walaikum
Uh,
salam.
Bianca Monroe done stepped in. What's up, BB? Miss Lily scared, so scared, scared. Everybody else is. If you haven't shared yet, please, y'all know how we do. Can we get one share at least? Invite your people in, and keep in mind this isn't an interview. This is a conversation. So those of y'all that's in the comments, feel free to respond to some of the questions. We also got Melly in the building. Good evening, folks. Shout out to Melly. James Hannibal responding to Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Walaikum salam.
Yes, Miss Fatima, preach. That's from Miss Lily.
Hey, Miss Lily, how you doing?
Melly says it starts with us, then figure out how to communicate to the kids because they are a huge factor, and then work our way up.
Exactly.
I'm in agreement with that, Melly. That's another thing that is going to take some time. It's going to
Hmm.
take some time for us to do.
Absolutely.
Um, so how do we mend that the communication, because it's crazy because I'm saying the elders, but when I really think about it, I'm one of them OGs now. Like
Yeah.
how would we mend that communication to the younger generation? Like
Hmm.
what what say you?
Yeah. You're saying, how do you get through to them? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
like what can we do as a culture? You know what I mean? Because I agree there is a divide, there is a gap. You know what I mean? And we all know why. We all know about the crack
Yeah.
epidemic. We know about prison and the prison
Mm-hmm.
pipeline, the school, and all that. But
Yeah.
how do we fix that internally? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the older generation have their ears shut off to the younger generation just as much as the younger generation has their ears shut off to the older generation. And in
Yeah.
my opinion, they're just we're just reacting to it differently
Yeah.
based on where we are mentally and generation wise. So how, in your opinion, like how do we fix that line of communication?
I think we need to include them in our conversations. We
Right.
need to include them. Like sometimes they're excluded in the conversations, and we'll say, and I've said this before, oh, this new generation, I don't understand them. We talk about them a lot, but we don't talk to them. So they don't feel like they can relate to us because they feel like we old heads, and so the old heads don't know this, they don't know that. Whereas I think my generation and our generation, we sat at the foot of the old heads. We listened to what they had to say. We respected it. It's a little bit different now. So I think including them in the conversations, which is basically asking them their opinions about certain things, asking them, what can we do to help you, or what is it that you're interested in? If you're interested in rapping, what can we do to help you further your rap career? If you're interested in being an entrepreneur, what can we do to help you further that? Giving them things to do that's outside of the norm. Having workshops. One of the things that I do is I have real talk workshops. I was a Girl Scout troop leader, and so I would have real talk workshops with the teens, right? And
Right.
what we would do is I would pick out songs like DMX songs. Like this may seem crazy, but the song that he has, which I really want from him.
Hmm.
It may seem crazy coming from a Muslim woman or whatever,
Right.
but when I say real talk, we'll decode this. So I'm like, this is the street conversation. So what do y'all think he's saying? And do you see how this can be, damaging to the community as men and women coming together? So we'll talk about that. We'll read books. I'll ask them questions. We'll have conversations. We'll watch a movie. Pick out your favorite movie. Let's sit here and dissect this movie, where I'm not looking at you as, dang, you out here listening to all this rap music that got cursing and these girls twerking. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, okay, can we look at this together, and can we pick out what's right and what's wrong and what could be better? That way we
Right.
have real talk conversations here, and you don't
Right.
think that I'm just this old head trying to tell you not to have fun.
And you know what I see in what you just said as an example, it definitely supports something that I feel as though is an issue with my peers and people that's older than me when
Yeah.
it comes to us communicating with the younger generation. Um, you showed in that display that you could relate. You dig what I'm saying? As far as using that song.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is the part that gets me with my generation and older, they forget or they
Yeah.
act like they
Yeah.
forgot when they too was that age. You dig
Exactly.
what I'm saying? And I feel like that right there is a big part of the disconnect. And for whatever reason, you want to act like you don't remember that part of your life. I don't know if it's something you want to tuck away and act like it never happened because you're not that person no more.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, that is needed.
It's needed. It is.
It's
Yep.
needed for us
Yeah.
to stand on our mistakes in the past versus after the fact using it to relate to the black ball of the family or the black sheep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And typically, and I'm pretty sure you can relate because it happens throughout our culture. You
Yeah.
always have that aunt or that uncle that takes advantage of that black sheep
Yeah.
and tells that story, and that aunt or uncle turns out to be the worst person that they can attach themselves to, but
Mhm.
they're
Yep.
communicating.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? They're
Yeah.
relating. So that part just it bothers me with my peers and the older, like, please act like you remember
Act like
when
exactly.
you too was 14,
It's
15,
crazy.
16 years old.
Yeah, and like I said, it's because it's some things that they did in their life that they want to cover up and make it seem like they never did it. And now because oh, you a Muslim now, no more dope
Right.
games. You know what I'm saying? You want to go to the mosque. I mean, you get what I'm saying. So I can relate to, because I did these things. See, one of the things that we gotta be real with ourselves. You gotta share your life with people in order for them to be able to relate. So I can talk to domestic violence survivors and victims because I went through domestic violence. I can
Right.
talk to younger people about fights, about clubbing, about drinking and stuff like that. I don't mind sharing that part of my life because I'm practicing Muslim now. Doesn't mean that I don't have a personality. I still have a personality. You have a person. Everyone has a personality. So what we
Mhm.
don't want to do is we don't want to strip the youth of their personality. We want you to come exactly who you are, but we want you to also grow and be better.
It's
That's
crazy that you just gave that example. Hold that thought. Just remember Tupac in case I forget the thought.
okay.
I'm going to read these comments real quick. Ms. Lily said, "Unfortunately, we won't be able to get to everyone. There will be a few that slip through the cracks." I agree. Melly says, can't just go to the kids. We need to set a foundation for them to believe in us and relate to us just like they do the folks they do listen to. Social media, artists, and celebs as examples. Once we get their trust and communicate with them, then we can guide and they can springboard off the foundation built. I agree, Mr. Melly. Yo, Pop, what's up, Big Exclusive saying what's up? Uh, Miss Lily, I think I love Miss Fatima. And
Hey,
she's in
Lily, I
agreement.
love you too.
They ain't forget.
Mhm.
Melly has another comment. It's a lot with this era of parents. A lot of this era of parents is they talk a good talk, but they
Yeah.
don't stand on it. They worry about living their best life. I strongly agree, Mr. Melly. But at the same time, that's a form of finger pointing because where you think that generation got it from?
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Like it just gets worse as it goes down. The attention that we pay to our offspring, it becomes more absent each
Mhm.
generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Each generation, it just becomes more absent.
Mhm.
Miss Hadia says it starts at home first. I wanted to make reference to something that you made reference to. It reminded me of. Did you hear about Tupac supposed to had played the Muslim guy in Menace to Society?
No.
Okay, so
No.
you remember Sharif, right, from Menace to
Yeah.
Society?
Yeah.
So Tupac originally was supposed to play Sharif,
Oh, really? Yeah.
and the reason why it didn't happen was he was giving the directors a hard way to go,
Mhm.
saying, "Okay, but how did he become this way? If he is a Muslim now and he has all these street friends and all that, and he's in like,
Yeah.
what's his story? Like, I'm
What?
not gonna just play this character and
Yeah.
not have a story to how I got here. I'm so
Exactly.
righteous now. Like, you dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they got him out of here.
They didn't want to cut. They didn't want to see that part. They just only wanted to go to the holy rosy part. You know, you
Right.
got to start somewhere. People don't just become Mother Teresa or whatever they or Minister Louis Farrakhan or Malcolm X. Look at what they went through to get to what they went through. They were selling drugs. They went to jail. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it takes people who believe in you, and it sometimes takes that one person, to speak life into you. We got to speak
Mm-hmm.
life to each other. We got to
And,
speak life
and that's
to the
people that get there on their own journey, might I add, not a follower, because you have some people that just do it because they think it's the thing to do, and they don't
exactly.
stand on it over time. But
Mhm.
people that arrive there on their own journey,
Yeah.
like I strongly agree with.
Yes.
Um, Let me see what we have. We have some more comments rolling in here. Lamit, what's up, bro? Lamit in the building. Lamont McIntyre. Mr. Hannibal says so true. Lily saying so sad. Miss Carter, there is no longer a village in some communities. Let you tell someone's kid they're not supposed to be doing, etc. They have a problem you got in their kids. And you
Yeah.
know what's crazy? That's
Hmm.
in our culture.
Yeah.
The some communities that have it is every culture but ours.
Hmm.
Mr. Melly, well, in all reality, we need to do some finger pointing to get to where we need to start from, accept it, and go build. Yeah, the finger pointing is the whole culture from top to bottom, not singling out one generation. All
Hmm.
points of accountability. If nobody want to take it, then nobody will accept it, which means nobody will start to learn and change. We got to start somewhere. Yes, I agree. But what I'm trying to say is start with your generation. I
Hmm.
start with my generation. Miss
Yeah.
Fatima start with her generation. And we build those lines of communication from the leaders of those generations and have these conversations. Pac
Absolutely.
was probably too real for them. They ain't want no smoke from Pac. we we only have one side of the story, Miss Lily. So I
Yeah.
don't know, but I agree. His Pac knew a lot about how the culture ended up where the culture
Yeah.
got to, and they tried to treat him like just another rapper.
Hmm.
Yes, I agree. So I'm pointing the finger at myself. See my point? Yes, sir, Mr. Schuller. Yes, sir. But sometimes I have to explain for the people that's paying attention. Some people, not that on point.
Yeah. So
But
listen, can I ask you something, Poppy?
yes, ma'am.
So I think I saw the other night that you said, don't forgive me for chopping up what you said, but you said something toward the fact of, you know, how you can end or stop some of
Yeah.
the gun violence out here, right? So I want to
Yes.
pick your brain. So talk to me, like what do you
I,
think? Like,
I I definitely was going to work my way to that
okay,
point. I wanted to give some people some time to get in. You know what I
okay,
mean? Sometimes it take people about 15, 20 minutes to
I
get
got,
in. But that's what the questions was leading to.
okay,
Because I guess that's the segue to the next question that I have for you that would lead to
okay,
me explaining that.
okay, gotcha.
What can we do right now? Like
Mhm.
everything we discussed is things that take time. You dig what I'm saying? What can we do right now?
Honestly speaking, we can be the change that we want to see. Like, honestly, what we can do right now is what we're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Speaking, talking about the situation, looking for solutions, being an example of what we're talking about. We're standing on what we're talking about. We're not just sitting here saying, what can we do? You said we want to talk about solutions. So
Mm-hmm.
now come to the table and come up with some solutions. And one of the things that I feel like too is the workshops. Like I said, I really, really want to get with different communities and community centers to have these workshops. I'm working on trying to, I have a for-profit right now. I'm working on trying to turn it into a nonprofit, because what I want to do is empower the community with these valuable life skills and resources, starting with the youth as well, and not accept a dime for it, but
Right.
getting financial literacy workshops and getting the self-esteem workshops in here. I mean, getting the communication, healthy communication workshops, and just different things that was taken out of our particular curriculum that we used to have. Some of the things coming up, we had home economics, growing up. We don't have some of those things now. They got the home part in there, but they don't have the economics, and we need
Right.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just implementing life skills training. I grew up in the NOI, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had like the Nation of Islam and stuff, and we had like the general training for women, general training for men, for boys, for girls. I think that there should be a lot of, it doesn't have to be a religious base, but we should have training out here and programs out here that are structured to help us, particularly the black and the brown, because we are the ones that are lacking and,
Right.
in a disadvantage. So I think that those are the things that I said. Just start with us and just be an example of what we say we want to do. That's one of the
Okay.
things.
I'm gonna read through some of these responses and then I'm gonna get into what I believe the solution may be. Ms. Carter says, have the conversations and bringing everyone to the table, including the kids. They want to be heard. They smarter than we think. Yes, I agree, Ms. Carter. I remember being one of those kids.
Yep, yep,
Mr. Lamont McIntosh says, there's plenty of examples out here. You just have to want to be guided by it.
yeah.
I agree, Mr. Lamont McIntosh. But once again, the question that I'm asking is, how can we curb the gun violence? Like, do you have an immediate solution? Everything that we're talking about isn't wrong, but these are things that will take time. I'm talking about, do anybody have any ideas of something that can happen immediately? Be it through the culture, be it through law, be it through whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really what the question is. Let me see. Melly says, right now, stop with the gun turn up and grab our kids and be an example and learn your child. Figure out how to communicate with them in a way that get to them. Our kids don't believe or trust us. They look up to damn near everyone but us. They respect Google, Alexa, and Siri more than mom and pop. I strongly agree, Mr. Melly Schuler. But guess what? Google, Alexa, and Siri in most cases is more accessible.
Real
Miss
talk.
Lily says, I remember that class in grade school. Yes, home ec. I learned how to sew in the seventh grade.
Yes.
It, it didn't immediately get like this, so it won't immediately stop. I mean, that's one way of looking at it, but that don't mean we can't try to come up with ideas. You know what I mean? That response would just be stopping the thought. You know what I mean? We have to have the thought.
Yeah.
Miss Hadia says we got to stop talking down to them and start talking to them. Go ahead on, let them know that we've been there. I strongly agree, Miss Hadia. A lot of parents in our culture talk down on their kids more than they praise their kids. And it's not about putting them on a pedestal or anything like that. But sometimes your kids need to hear that you're proud of them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Sometimes your kids need to hear that you're happy seeing them happy. You know what I mean? Like, so they just need to hear it. Sometimes your kid needs to hear, don't worry about it, it'll be okay, and feel that hand on their shoulder. It's simple things that culturally we literally don't do anymore.
Mhm.
We just don't do it. Mr. Melly Schuller says, and that's the problem. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you was talking about. Think about what you just said. Everyone but parents is more accessible. That by itself is terrible. No excuses. Yes, that was
Mhm.
why I said it. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, but even if we were as accessible as our grandparents, I'm not going to even say our parents.
Mhm.
Even if we were as accessible as our grandparents, we still wouldn't be as accessible as Google, Alexa, and Siri. That's in their pocket, in their bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's everywhere we aren't.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's not stopping the thought, it's being realistic about the situation and finding solutions. All right, well, let's talk about solutions.
Mhm.
I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about solutions. I was sitting one day not too long ago, and I wasn't even thinking about it.
Mhm.
Oh, hold on. Let me read. We got a stack right here. Parenting classes. Most parents are young and can't control the kids.
Mhm.
2, try to limit their access to social media. 3, I'll take the smoke, but start charging the parents with conspiracy, and I bet they will start knowing where the kids are and what they are doing. Every kid has a phone, and the parents should know where they are at all times. Make sure they are not hanging with the wrong kids. And that part right there is going to make me finger point a little bit because I am a guy. So, of course, from a guy's standpoint, we're going to automatically think of the things that women can do. That response right there made me think about how women will track your phone to see who you're cheating with. Meantime, in between time, the son is somewhere shooting up 9 people in Kensington.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not saying that's what happened the other night, but you know what I'm making reference to. It's
Mhm.
only cause we're letting them be more accessible to it. I agree, Mr. Melly Schuller, because what's his name? One of the creators of it. Who's the creator of iPhone? He didn't allow his kids to have an iPhone.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
even allow his kids to have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Facts. In the meantime, the kids are running around causing chaos. Steve Jobs, yes. Steve Jobs created a part of what's being used to, manipulate the mindsets of the masses. I can't even say the
Yeah.
culture. And he didn't even allow his kid to access that. People
Yeah.
create programs for these kids, then program in, and kids don't trust these programs or such, because then they left back to square one and they lost again. They feel abandoned, left by mentors. This is the firsthand experience. And you know what, Miss Carter, in response to that, in my opinion, leads back to communication, because
Yeah.
the adults in that situation won't tell the kids the ins and the outs of how the program was lost.
Mhm.
They'll just tell them the program is over, give them some BS excuse, not taking into consideration that the kids may look at it like you giving up on us. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, we lost funding. You know what I mean? Like, we have to communicate. Like, if they're my dad told me, if they old enough to ask, they old enough to know.
Yeah. Yep.
We can't blame the parents if both parents work and the kids are in bed before they leave for work. Then the parents leave for work and the kids sneak out. Why is their problem? Their kids know better. I agree, Mr. Hannibal, and that goes back to a lot of our parents have to work all these hours just to maintain
Exactly.
a significant lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? In a one parent household, typically
Mhm.
the income is not enough to sustain.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
part of the manipulation. Well, let our kids have that access to it. Come on, let's be real. Just like all the other teachings we grew up on, just because it's there don't mean we have to take or use it. So it goes back again, us. I
Mm-hmm.
I, I guess I guess so I was having a thought. I'm like, dang, I got it. I wasn't thinking about gun violence. I don't know what I was thinking about, but it just dawned on me. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to remove my feelings from it. I had to remove my care from it, and I had to literally just say this idea would stop it.
Mm-hmm.
If not stop it, it will curve it drastically. And a lot of our culture isn't going to like this. Um I had a conversation with Big Exclusive about it the other day, and from the rip, after we talked about it, he like, yo, we need to type that up and present that. And I started to hold it just for that. But people that know me know that I'm not somebody that's the recognition doesn't really matter as long as the situation is executed.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like why not discuss it on this platform versus typing it up, presenting it, and it getting shelved somewhere? Because do they really want to fix it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this all a part of gentrifying Philadelphia and moving us back to the country so they can move into the city because the project is over? You dig what I'm saying? Like what's really going on here? So I'm gonna read these comments and then I'm gonna tell y'all what my solution was. That's an excuse, Hannibal. You can still track them, and kids don't go from good to demon in one night. Stop the cat. Kids start a pattern of behavior, and y'all act like you don't see it. We, not
Mm-hmm.
you and I, but we talk. That's the first thing we have to do is change the language that we use. That makes it seem like we're not being self accountable. Because as of right now, we're talking about the culture. Melly Scholler, you're absolving the kids of any blame and what they're out there doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Thanks for saying it, Lamit. Lily, are you waving goodbye or are you waving your hand? Wait, raising your hand. My son wants to get online so bad, but I'm not having it. No time. It's way too many predators. How old is he? No, I'm not. You can't just fire at the kids without doing anything about it is first. Without doing anything about it first. I'm not saying the kids should be off the hook at all, but we talking where can we do a solution? True indeed. Y'all can continue to build on that. But I'm
Yeah.
going to give y'all what I believe will curve it drastically.
Mm-hmm.
What I believe will curve the gun violence in urban communities drastically is making the family, let's say if we're talking 18 and younger, if we're talking a kid, someone who has a caretaker, the family is responsible. I'm talking about the immediate family is responsible for all court costs and hospital bills. And if someone ended up deceased, funeral costs. If you are an adult, it should be on, if you're married, your wife or your husband. If you're not married, your siblings, brothers, sisters. I know people are going to say, well, what if I didn't know? Guess what? Tough. At this point, tough. Because a lot of people know and they're just turning the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've heard people say, well, you should lock such and such up for the same crime. But that's not solving anything because you may be taking the parents away from other siblings. The same way we're talking about changing the system is the same way we can change the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Get the ones who supposedly love them in the pockets. and they will start checking these phones. They will start checking these rooms and making sure there's no guns inside the drawers and underneath the mattresses. You dig what I'm saying? They'll start governing how long you out, who you with, what you was doing, how was your day. How about that for starters? How about that for starters?
Yeah.
A lot of our people don't even ask their kids how their day was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Now, my youngest daughter, who's 8 years old, I pick her up from the school bus 3 days a week. The first thing that comes out of my mouth
Mm-hmm.
is, "How was your day?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I genuinely can't wait to ask her, because when that school bus stops and those doors open, she flies off the bus to me. You dig what I'm saying? And when she doesn't do that, it makes me farther more want to know, how was your day?
Yeah.
Because of how she reacted to seeing daddy. You dig
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like, it goes back to what you said, Miss Fatima. Communication
Yeah.
from generation to generation.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are no longer available
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
physically
Yeah.
or mentally to our children.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read through some of these comments because they started rolling in.
Yeah. And
Going into the community. What'd you
right.
say?
No, I said, and I'm speaking from a woman who has 5 children. You know what I'm saying? Who's raised 5 children, and they're all my youngest are twin boys who just turned 18.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you what you think about that as soon as we do the comments. Going into the community and actually speaking to the teens individually and figure out how we can bring them all together in peace. Shout out to Miss Fee 215 for joining and commenting. Miss Lily said her son is 11. Lamont is in agreement. He says, bingo. Melly Schuller, yes, I know Lamont, because maybe if you hear me say it, then you may understand. We're okay. He's responding to something else. Big exclusive facts. I spoke to a Philly police officer, and she flat out told me that their parents out there protecting the kids, and they know they committed a crime.
Mm-hmm.
The communities know who's out here running around with the dumb shit and turn a blind eye. True
Yep.
indeed.
Yep.
Most of you been on the phone with me when I pick up my girls and can attest that I do the exact same thing. Salute to you, Big Exclusive, and I can vouch for that. I can vouch for this man having one of the strongest relationships, father-daughter, that I have ever witnessed. I'm not going to say that ever exists because I don't know, but that I have ever witnessed. Big Exclusive, salute to you, good brother. AOG, those are facts. Ms. Lily says, I was waving because you said about the one parent household having to work so much, but my daughter is home with him at night. Thank God. And she's a good big sister. She protects him. Salute to the kids that step up in the single parent households.
Yes.
Salute to those kids, because a lot of people that's in on this conversation, we were those kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was that kid for part of my life. I can't say my whole life. I could say after the age of 12, you know, here and there, I played that role, and it's not easy being 11, 12 years old and having to look after a 5-year old. You dig what I'm saying? That could be stressful, and then you might get in trouble for what the 5-year old did. Exactly, Pop. Listen to what you're saying. Basically, all I'm saying is parents need to start with themselves. Start by being a parent. I'm listening to what I'm saying. I'm meticulously saying it, good brother. Yes, I agree. By Miss Fee 215. Mr. Hannibal says, when your kids are 16 and 17, you can track, but not all the time. Sometimes kids need to learn the hard way now so they won't make it in the future. Kids now know how to get away with a lot before you find out. That's why I never wanted kids, and that's why I just got stepkids. I know these kids are sneaky. I was a sneaky kid, but these kids are more grown than the parents. All you can do is pray for your kids. You can teach, but they have to learn. I agree, Mr. Hannibal. But now we have to look at, where does that type of behavior come from? And
Mm-hmm.
when we try to simplify the issue, it goes to Most of the time, I can't say all the kids that act like that, but most kids that act like that, it's a developed behavior from the parent not being accessible or the parent being a liar habitually. You dig what I'm saying? And that's what the kid picks up. And those are the habits that the kid starts to develop. My parents ain't paying attention anyway. They're just going to ask me, and I can tell them such and such, and they're not going to pay me no mind for the next 3-4 hours. You dig what I'm saying? Like, some of our friends grew up in these households, if some of us didn't. You know what I mean? I've had some friends who parents didn't get home until they should have been in bed for school the next day. Could you imagine what they were doing after the school bell rung?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And guess what they did the whole beginning of the school day? Slept. And then the second half of the school day, they was bad and agitated. Not necessarily a bad kid, but look at the series of events. Look at us as adults when we don't get our sleep. When somebody wakes you up early and you got to get up in another 20 minutes or something, they could have made a mistake. But look how agitated you are that someone woke you up. You dig what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff at the end of the day goes back to communicating and being accessible. A lot of kids be searching for that attention from their parents. I agree. Parenting classes and social media has to go. I agree on parenting classes and social media has to go. She's not putting them two together.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, bro. Salute to you, big exclusive. Lisa Carter, those are facts. I always ask, what's the best and worst part of your day? So if something bad came up, I can help her work through it. Pop, she been doing this since she was 16. She's about to be 28. Shout out to her. She probably don't want no kids either. She probably don't want no kids because typically the sibling that grows up raising the younger siblings have kids late or don't want to have kids at all.
So true.
The reason why I say us as parents is cause where does it start at? In the home with the parents. Before we go outside, we are there with our kids. We can't blame outside. We don't even do what we need to do inside. The home first. Can't talk community, schools, and anything outside. We start in home and in the house. I agree, Mr. Schuller, in a sense. But in another sense, I think that's a part of forgetting that you was once that kid. What I mean by that is, think about how conscious you was at that age of what you were doing. We give these kids a lot of excuses and think we was just special. When a lot of these kids are very conscious of what they're doing. What I'm getting at is self-accountability across the board. From your point of view, yes, starting with the parents because that's where you are in your journey in life and in age. But culturally, it's starting with you and communicating. I don't know if that's going against what you're saying or that's what you're trying to say, but I'm in agreement with what you're saying, but I'm just diving into it a little deeper. We can't give nobody an excuse from any age group all the way up. Everybody has to be held accountable. And everybody has to consciously try. Everybody. Ms. Lily says she is my rock. Lamont, I grew up in the jungle. I've seen shootings and stabbings firsthand before I reached my teen years, and not one time did it make me want to pick up a gun. All I'm saying is parents need to be parents. This is Melly right now. All I'm saying is parents need to be parents no matter how you word it. We are not being parents. A lot of us are being friends. I strongly agree, Mr. Melly Schuller. Now, back to you, Miss Fatima.
Yes.
Do you think my idea would work? And please answer this in the comments. If you didn't hear what I said make the family of the children, if you're 18 and under and they're being tried as a child, make the immediate family financially responsible for all court costs, funeral costs if that's involved, and hospital costs. If there's an adult and they're married, make the spouse financially responsible. All court costs, funeral costs if it applies, and hospital costs. If they aren't married, make all siblings 1, 2, 3, however many siblings you have. If you don't have siblings and you just so happen to be a single child, adult, not married, your parents got to bite that.
Mm-hmm.
If your parents aren't alive, your aunt, your uncle. But I believe that if we have to pay for this financially, because let's just look at it fighting it from the murderer's standpoint.
Yeah.
You know how much them lawyer fees cost?
Mm-hmm.
Just for the murderer to fight the case.
Yeah.
Now, most times
Mm-hmm.
they get found guilty. I would assume. I don't have the exact stats, but so they got to pay that $100,000 that they got to bite, and they're going to jail. What about the holes that's in the victim body?
Mm-hmm.
What about the windows of that business?
Mm-hmm.
What about the flower pot on that old lady porch?
Yep.
You dig what I'm saying? What
Mm-hmm.
about all the people in our culture? And yes, we should all have insurance, but what about the ones who don't and they go out here and lose their life? And now the family got to throw a fish fry and raise all this money. Somebody has to be held accountable for all this stuff. You
Yeah.
dig what I'm saying? And it's not being done that way. So it's easy to just be like, I don't know who did it. I guarantee you, if we do this, watch how fast that no snitch policy vanishes.
Listen.
I don't
Oh,
care how gangster you is. They hit your pockets and everything you worked for all your life. That no snitch policy is out the door. I'm not saying if I'm for it or not for it. In certain situations, I agree. Shut your mouth.
mm-hmm.
But some of this stuff is unnecessary and dumb.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry I took that up, but Miss Fatima, what say you to that solution?
I mean, I think I see where you're coming from, and I think that that can be a way to hold the family accountable for the mischief that's being caused in the streets or whatever. It it's just that when you think about it, there is that would I think that would still take a long process and a long time to be able to implement and put that in play.
Oh well,
Um,
yeah. In that
yeah,
case, as far
yeah,
as
exact, yeah,
but
exactly.
once it starts, I
Yeah.
think it would stop almost immediately.
Oh yeah, it would definitely help. But yeah, like you were saying, so I think that that would, that I see the idea, and that's something that I never thought about before. But when you think about it with anybody in society, especially, you know, us people, black people who are mostly consumers, if you do something and hit our pockets, we're definitely going to react a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
see where you're coming from with that. It's just that a lot of times, not to say for the people who know that their family members, their children are out here doing things, terrorizing other people, shooting, murdering, and everything like that, and allowing them to continue to wreak havoc or whatever the case may be. That definitely is something that I don't even know if this is the thing that I'm trying to say. It would be hard to kind of figure out how that works, because a lot of times the people don't know what their children are doing outside. You get what I'm saying?
But
So
a lot of times, like we were saying earlier, that's because as the generation has been going on, we've been less
less
accessible,
accessible,
and,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
and a lot of that is on
Mhm.
our part. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if this was implemented, we would start doing what's necessary
Yeah.
to know where they are and what they're
Yeah.
doing. You
Yeah.
get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But another thing too to that, like someone said, I think you even mentioned it too, the tracking. If it gets so bad, then we do need to have tracking devices on these children, regulated or whatever, because we can track our spouses, significant others when we think they're cheating. We got whole shows out here, designated to follow around, the opposite sex.
Apple AirTags.
You know what I'm saying?
Put
Yeah.
an Apple AirTag inside the hat, inside the
Yeah.
book bag, inside something they
Exactly.
take with them every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. So we got apps that we put on the phones for the significant others, for male and female and everything like that. So if people were keeping, accountability of their children and being more in tune to that, more so than relationship status, then we would be in a different place. Yeah.
Hmm. Let me
Mm-hmm.
read some of these comments. Mr. Melly says, how can a kid take self accountability when they don't know what that is? You got kids smoking at 8 years old. Kids may not understand with self accountability as a saying means.
Mm-hmm.
But kids understand I did it. Kids know they lying when you ask them, did you eat the cookie?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can start being meticulous and start saying, well, what age do they start knowing? You know your kid better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, kids are very much aware when they aren't being accountable for what they did. And they lie because they know they can't take the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Kids understand that at a young age. Ms.
Yep.
Lily is in agreement. Facts pop. Ms. Bianca says these kids are losing their fathers, brothers, uncles, friends, etc. They're operating out of anger and trauma. Let's try starting some mentoring programs and give these kids time to grieve properly. I agree, Ms. Bianca Monroe. Ms. Lily says accountability. Mr. McIntosh says, Melly Schuller, you agreed that they're smarter than we think. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you did, sir.
Yep.
Playing devil's advocate, bro. They know what they're doing. They're just immune to the feelings attached to it. I can agree to that. And if I go down that rabbit hole, Mr. Lamont McIntosh will end up talking about Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. So I'm not going to even touch that. You may not like this, Pop, but I consider my daughter a friend, not just my daughter, because we're super close. Miss, she turned out okay. I'm assuming that's, but she turned out okay. She doesn't run the streets because she doesn't have time to go out if she chooses. Now, Miss Lily, I'm not going to say I like or dislike because you parent how you parent. What I will say is that won't work for every child. What I
Mm-hmm.
will say is what I know from my experience and from what I've seen with my peers. Um, that's a special situation you have there that it worked out that way with you looking at your child more so as a friend. You can have friend type, experiences with your child, but at the same time, yeah, I'm not gonna dive too much into that. So just be very, very appreciative that your situation turned out the way it turned out. She had your back. Miss
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Idea says everybody is becoming immune and attacked to all of the nonsense that's going on, and people are scared to get involved. It's sad. True indeed, Miss Hadia, and I believe people are scared to get involved because we
Mm-hmm.
who can we rely on?
Yeah.
The people that's compensating the snitches, aka the police, they aren't even standing on their end of the deal. They're having a lot of, this is the part that you don't get to hear. They have a lot of these people, these informants, come down and tell, and then they put it out there who the informant is.
Yep. Yep.
Right out there in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, and it's a lot of little innuendos and stuff they got going on. Like, did you know that if your child, God forbid, but if your child was to pass away due to gun violence in Philadelphia, uh, the city is to cut you a check. Now, the stipulation of that is they check under the fingernails, and as if there's any type of drugs under the fingernail, you void that check.
Wow.
Any type of gunpowder residue, anything like that, you void that money. Now, the reason why the city is to cut you that check is because the police are to protect and to serve, and they weren't there to save your life. A lot of people don't know about that. But yeah, what else we got here? AOG, yes, they are. But kids are not learning about a gun at 2. We let a lot of kids get to where they are because we decided to do that. Now, Melly, I can definitely agree with you on that. And how about this? My daughter, who's now 8, she knew how to break down, clean, and identify the parts of a Glock and an AR-15 at the age of 4. Her mother is in the military, and I'm me. We're gonna scroll down some more. She's a homebody. Even before my son was born, she was a good kid and now a great young lady. Salute to her. You giving her flowers. I hope she's watching. I hope she's watching. And if she's not watching, I hope you communicate all these things to her. Not saying that you don't, but I'm going to use it as an
Mhm.
example. A lot of parents will talk so highly of their kids, and the kids will hate the parent because the way you talk to them is nasty all the time. They don't
Yeah.
even know that you think about them in that way.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
every time you communicate to me, mom, you tell me about how much I'm not shit. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But you're out there telling people how good I am around the house and how reliable I am. This is a part of communicating.
Yeah.
Not saying that you're guilty of that, Miss Lily. I just was using that comment as an example. Melly
Mhm.
Schuller, you lost me with that last comment, bro. That was by Angry OG. Big exclusive. That's the point, Fatima. It forces you to know what's going on with your child. True indeed. The phone is a tracking device already. Just turn it on. True
Mhm.
indeed.
Yeah.
Here's about this.
Mhm.
A lot of people have Citizen app
Mhm.
on their phone. Grab
Yeah.
your kid's phone and friend them on Citizen app. Little do they
Mhm.
know, it shows the location. If you
Yeah.
go on the Citizen app, anybody that's on your friends list on Citizen app, they can see your location unless you go in there and turn it off. A lot of
Yeah.
y'all didn't know that.
Mhm.
Gotta
Yeah.
go to work. Goodbye, y'all. Good conversation. Thank you for joining, Miss Fee. Salute. Thank you for your time. Miss Carter, some of these kids in survival mood, some of these kids are forced to grow up faster than we think. I seen kids all summer long locked out their house, left unattended to roam the projects. And you know what's sad about that, Miss Carter? That's not nothing new.
Yeah.
That's not nothing new at all. But what I will say is the generations before me, to my knowledge, when that happened, they found things to do other than rob, steal, and kill.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
But as far as being locked out the house because the parents ain't home and stuff like that, and being in survival mode, that's not nothing new to the culture at all.
True. Yeah.
I'm going all the way to the root. This is Melly Schuller. That's why I say that. A kid don't know how to roll a blunt at 5. A kid don't know how to shoot a gun unless we give them an opportunity to. Let's not pick and choose and make it seem like the kids just came out the womb knowing these things. Understood, Mr. Schuller. But here's the thing. Were we not once kids? And we all access different information at different points of our life based on our journey, which is why age isn't nothing but a number. You
Mhm.
dig what I'm saying? Because you can have a kid that knows a lot more than you in a particular area because that's where most of their journey has been occupied. So once again, it's everybody that has to be held accountable from top to bottom. And agreeing with what you said earlier, it starts with yourself.
Yeah.
It starts
Yeah.
with yourself.
Yeah.
Ms.
You.
Lily says she does have time to go out if she chooses. Okay, that was a typo. Okay. Yes, kids are smart, but we let our hey, Mr. Melly, you want to come on, good brother? Because it's an open platform. Miss Fatima, the only one
Mhm.
that clicked the link and came in and asked me ahead of time. But you're more than welcome to come on and speak your piece.
Yeah, you know what, Poppy, what I was thinking, I was just having this conversation with my sister earlier, and I was a similar conversation. I was saying that we do have to take accountability as parents when we're talking about the children and the generation and what's going on with them, because the parenting styles were different too. If I think about my mother's parenting styles versus my parenting style, even though I believe I'm a good parent, I just know that there's certain things that got lost in translation that I didn't get a chance to do with my children because I was a parent that worked a lot too. My
Mm-hmm.
mother did have to work. She was at home all the time, so she taught me sewing, she taught me crocheting, she taught me all these different things. And I was even talking about down to I used to bake cakes and biscuits and all this stuff. By me working so much, um, and my kids were in daycare at a certain point, I didn't teach my daughters how to cook from scratch. So they were making biscuits out of the pop biscuits out of the can. I forgot the name brand of the Pillsbury Farm or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you call it. So there's some things that we have to take accountability with. And I held myself accountable for certain things. I said, there's certain things that we stopped parenting, or we weren't parenting a certain way. So we can't just blame the children. We have to
Mm-hmm.
blame ourselves as to, even if you're working or whatever the case may be, how can you still have this communication? Because I was doing the same thing that you said with my kids. Every day I would ask my sons, when they came in, like, how was your day? They was like, Ma, you ask me this every day. My son usually says, Ma, you ask me this every day. I'm like, yeah, I just want to know how your day is or whatever. But even with that, I'm just now starting to see my children doing things that I'm not pleased with. And my oldest is 23, 24. She's in college. She's traveled the world. She's been to Greece and everything. And my youngest are twins that are 18. And they're just now starting to act up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Doing certain things. And I was like, wow, I thought I was over that hill. You get what I'm saying? Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you're grown now. So to what someone else was saying, I do believe you can be your friend, your children's friend, but it's after they become a certain age. Like me and my daughter who's 24 are friends.
Mm-hmm.
Still her parent, but the 18-year-olds and the 16 and 17-year-olds, no, we have to, there's a clear division here that I'm mom. And then once you get past a certain age, yeah, we can talk as friends because you're more so of an adult now.
Now,
So
and I'm in agreement with that, but at
mhm,
the end of the day, that foundation has to be established. You dig what I'm
mhm,
saying?
yeah.
So, I mean, for you to be able to be friends with an adult offspring of yours, they have to know, if I cross this line, she gonna turn into my parent like that. You
Exactly.
dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you got these adult friends that
hmm
are your kids, and they know that lady ain't gonna do nothing, that's a
hmm
different type of,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
we
True.
friends. You
True.
being friends with them because you scared of them. You
hmm
dig what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you feel like you can get more accomplished by, oh, yep, oh, yeah, that look nice, girl, instead of saying, where you going with that?
hmm
You dig what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
And going back to what you was just saying, a lot of that stuff that I don't know if you feel guilty for, but a lot of the stuff that you said that you hold yourself accountable for not passing down to your children,
Mhm.
when we get down to the why, it's because, in my opinion, you were in survival
In
mode.
survive.
You
Exactly.
dig what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like, you were
Yep.
taking care of the necessities.
Exactly.
You dig
Yep.
what I'm saying? For them to grow up to be healthy
Yeah.
people. And
Exactly.
that takes away from the time, which takes away from the accessibility. And that goes back to, we're relying on another culture. We're relying on other cultures
Yeah.
versus being self-sufficient. You know
hmm
what I'm saying? We had somebody that was in the comments who had a lot to say, so I extended him the invite. Miss
Okay.
Fatima, he agrees with some of the things that you said, especially late in what you just said. I don't even know how to introduce this man anymore because he has multiple personalities like myself, and I don't even believe he's a Gemini. So with that being said, Mr. Melly Schiller.
How you
What's
doing?
up, Mr. Melly? How you doing, man? You know
Good,
what?
good
I'm gonna
evening.
mute
Good
my
evening,
mic.
man.
I'm gonna mute my mic. It's 10:08, right? Listen, it's 10:08. I'm gonna give you until 10:12 to run through everything that you was about to say, that you was
No, you
commenting.
ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that, man. It's your show, man. I just came. One, of course, as always, I just came to support. But what the young lady just said is actually what I'm talking about. You know, it's a little difference when you type in. So sometimes you get a little things a little delayed. But no, I mean, my whole thing is I look at things, you know, from the very beginning. Like parents, you know, parents is not parenting the way that they're supposed to from the very beginning. Forget all that. Okay, what a community this, the community that. Let's be 100% honest with ourselves. Take emotions, take all that extra BS out. Let's be 100% honest and open. The fact of the matter is, from the very beginning, you give birth to your child is at home with you, with us. The child is not coming out the womb already knowing how to smoke a blunt. A child is not coming out the womb already knowing how to shoot a gun. You just admitted, Pop. Your child, your 8-year old, know how to break down a Glock. But let's be really honest over here. Not saying that it's right or wrong. You introduce or somebody introduce your child to a Glock at whatever age. Now, what happens after that? That's when you got to deal with that. You don't know how life is going to be lifing. What
Now
I'm
here's my
saying is,
thing. Hold on one second. I do want to address that though, because the thing is, you don't know when they're going to be introduced to it. You dig what I'm saying? And you have these people that's out here, kids, adults, shooting up everything, and they can't even take their gun apart. They can't even clear a jam. You dig what I'm saying? When people understand how something mechanically works and they understand the makeup, they have a different respect for said object. You dig what I'm saying? Since my daughter understands how to do this with a real gun, she doesn't even play with the toy guns when she's around them and her other cousins and stuff. It doesn't even interest her. You dig what I'm saying? So that was my whole theory. You look at these pale faces, they introduce that stuff to their kids very, very young, and they teach them how to hunt and break all that stuff down. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of this violence, in my opinion, is because the kids are being introduced to these things through movies, through video games, through music videos. So some people may say I did it early, some people may not. I understand my daughter's mind. You dig what I'm saying? I understand my offspring. And that's my theory behind it. Not saying you was challenging that, but I wanted to express that because we do have some viewers that may say, yeah, I wouldn't do, why the hell would he do something like that? You dig what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Absolutely. Nah, and you know what you're saying. Like I said, I definitely. That's why I put it that way. I'm not saying you was right or you was wrong. No, whatever you decide to do with your child, that's your business. My thing is, you know, when you're talking to certain people, people like to pick and choose. Oh well, the community did it. Hold up, before you get to the damn community, where does it start? In your home, at home with you, your parent. You got a lot of us parents, and I'm including myself too, because I'm a parent as well. Regardless, what we doing? We not talking to our child. We not monitoring our child. We literally put a tablet in front of our child, maybe at freaking 6 months for them to watch whatever or anything. Right when the child started becoming reckless, people don't want to go back and look like, damn, I noticed that they was probably doing this or doing that at this age. They don't want to do that. They want to point the finger at when they started doing all this and then come up with all these excuses. Let's be honest. I came from a down south family, and I'm not saying that ain't nobody parents was better than mine or none of that. But whatever happened to, oh, I will kill for my child. I will ain't no this like we had all kinds of shit. I will kill you over my child. I would do this. You would protect your child. That's like what you used to tell your child and everybody else, that if they would even think about doing anything to your child. But the moment now what do you see? The moment the child get into something, it's always an excuse. I was at work. I was this. It's a million and one excuses when shit start to hit the fan. You had the
got
opportunity.
A Ring camera watching that Amazon package. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
And that's what I'm saying. So it's like people, you know, it's like people want to try to dip and dodge the bullet, but yeah, and still it's always no, motherfucker. You had the opportunity, and you still got the opportunity. You just not doing it. I don't give a damn about the community. You ain't talk to your child the moment they get ready to walk out that door. You ain't talk to your child. Shit, you ain't talk to that child when they came back through the goddamn door, if they made it back through it. Like people want to skip over the part of where we need to be held accountable at, man. I'm not saying by no means is everybody a bad parent. I'm not saying that. I don't give a damn if you was brought up in the streets. I was brought up in the street. I don't give a damn if your parents was on drugs. The fact of the matter, if your parents was on drugs, your parents need to be held accountable because maybe the drugs took them over. But the fact, no matter which way you put it, look at it. Where did it start from? Your child, it wasn't just wake up in the morning, they outside. No, they was up under you. You gave this child the opportunity to get exposed to this or to get exposed to that. When do you say?
You just said something that made me think of a question. I'm gonna let you go ahead. I just want you to answer this question real quick. Don't you remember when there was a time where we had functioning crackhead parents? Not all of us, but I'm just saying in the culture, right?
I'm not gonna lie, my mom was on drugs, man. And she's sitting right here.
Look,
but was functioning, right? Everything was
absolutely
okay. All right. I just want. Some people act like everybody that was doing drugs wasn't taking care of business.
And that's my point.
Some people that was on drugs that was at home taking care of business also.
And that's my point. People want to keep. That's my thing. People want to keep making excuses. Stop making excuses for when it's time to be held accountable. I don't give a shit about all of that. The fact of the matter was, you had your child. The moment you took custody of your damn child, you gave birth to him. Your child was your responsibility. Now, yes, they did learn all this stuff. Yes, the child did learn this on tablets and social media and all that. But before that, who had the access to give them to that? Who had the responsibility to give them access? We did. You didn't. Come on, let's stop the cap. You ain't had to give your child no damn phone,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if they had other ways of getting it. The first one was what you gave them that phone. Oh,
Hey,
only
what's the
use this
excuse we
for
get?
emergencies.
What's the
It's
excuse we get?
something. It's something.
No,
Yeah.
they need a phone so I can know where they at. Or if they get in
Exactly.
trouble, they could call me and let me know what's going on. And neither
And
one of
then
y'all use it for that purpose.
Yeah.
and in our reality, let's keep it all the way 100. When the phones come out, did we always have a goddamn phone? Come on now. Stop the cat. Where that button
Mm-hmm.
at? Somebody need to hit that damn button. Do we have a phone and all that shit? We knew the rules. Keep your ass here. You better be around here before them lights come on.
Yep. The street lights.
You
The street
like
lights
all it was
come
all
in the
these damn
house.
rules. So stop with all that. Like, we not using the stuff that we have available to us to monitor our kids, to protect our kid. We not doing it the way that we could be using it. It's always a goddamn excuse. People don't even cook no more. Huh? Here go the phone. Hit the app.
Right.
But then you want to say some dumb shit when, oh, well, why you ain't either. Motherfucker, you ain't want to cook.
Why
Like
you
like
on
it,
all
it
this DoorDash, spending up
like
all my money?
it's that's what I'm saying. So it's like, come on, man. At the end of the day, that's why I was saying it. Like, so when you try to type all this shit, sound kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
like
It's
at the end of
content
the
though,
day,
bro.
it's
Get it.
us, man. Yeah, man. At the end of the
So
day,
what
man,
I'm hearing
people.
is so what I'm hearing amongst all of us is accountability.
Mhm.
Absolutely. The one thing
Accountability.
that the
Everybody.
one thing that every freaking body, myself included, and I'm gonna say this on camera. I don't give a damn. Accountability is something that all of us hate. We don't like the taste of that. That's the nastiest shit to
Mhm.
try to taste, digest, swallow, whatever you want to say.
Guess
Nobody
what?
likes it. So when people say, "Oh, you don't like to take account," no, I don't. No, hell
When
no.
you
Not
when
unless
you
it's
start
good.
practicing self accountability though, because
It's a whole lot easier to
I try my
digest.
hardest
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
accountable. It
It's
becomes
a
a
whole lot
superpower,
easier.
and it
Exactly.
gives you X-ray vision to bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you start to do
Yeah.
what? Or
Yeah.
it's just, I hate to say it like that. It's just like using drugs, just like, I ain't gonna say murder, but it's just like using drugs, just like riding a bike, just like doing a
Mhm.
fear. The moment you start to do it, it's like getting that first one out the way. Sometimes it might take two or three. Once you break through that, all
Yeah.
that should start to be. Now you start looking for it. You better hold me accountable. You hear people say that. Hold me accountable. Why? Because now I know it's something I can learn from. I can build off of. I can use that as a weapon for myself. I ain't got to worry about somebody saying you don't take it. What? I look for it now.
Yeah.
Hold.
And it
You better
becomes,
hold me to that.
oh, my
Use it
son.
as a weapon to yourself, man. But
Mhm.
people don't
And
want to do that. They ain't even breaking through the first step.
Mhm.
this is the last part. We're going into the final stretch of the show. I actually was waiting for somebody else to come on before I brought this up,
Mhm.
and because I wanted to give people a chance for somebody else to mention it. And surprisingly, nobody has mentioned this yet, not even in the comments.
Mhm.
You know, something else that's missing, and I want to say the parents did it all the way up until about the 90s. A routine, a schedule, and sticking to that routine and schedule.
Mhm.
Kids don't have chores, and parents enable them. Kids don't know how to do some things, as you were saying earlier, as far as like home ec. But that was saying class and solidifying what you were saying, Mr. Melly, at home. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I consciously remember going to school knowing my ABCs, knowing how to spell my name, and knowing how to count,
Mhm.
and feeling bored because the teacher had to teach other students how to do theirs. You dig what I'm saying? I can
Yeah.
consciously remember that. I understand that everybody can't remember back that far, but at the same time, everybody,
Mhm.
everybody, that self accountability that you was talking about, everybody needs to hold each other to that and hold yourself to that. And I believe this is how I take away that age line, Mr. Melly. I don't know how old you are. You don't have to share,
41. Nah,
but
41.
okay, 41. How different did 41 feel from 40
Quite
internally?
different to be honest. Internally,
Yeah,
are we talking mentally?
no,
Like,
this like, did you feel different the day that you turned 41 versus the day that you was 40?
no,
And that's typically
no.
every age. You dig what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you don't pay it no mind.
If we didn't have mirror, if we didn't have glass, if we didn't have reflection, you wouldn't even dig that you look different. You know what I mean? It takes seeing a picture or a mirror to be like, oh damn, I'm getting fat, or damn, I used to look. You dig what I'm saying? What I'm getting at is we are who we are.
Mhm.
We are who we are. And scientific fact, so many researches that prove what I'm about to say. The most important time of mental development is the first 7 years of life.
Yep. Facts.
When you get to about 8, 9, 10 years old, you kind of have an idea of who that kid is going to be,
Start to
barring
be.
barring some sort of trauma. You dig what I'm saying? But you
Yeah.
kind of have a direction. That kid's a leader. That kid's a follower. That kid's creative. That kid is quiet. That kid is fiery. Like by the time they 8, 9, 10, you kind of have an idea. You dig what I'm saying? So where I'm getting at is you never gave a line, a time, or age for self accountability. Not that that's the direction you was going. I'm just making conversation. But at the
Hmm.
same time, I want to give a point because our people tend to not have common sense. Our people tend
Hmm.
to nitpick instead of really trying to understand it. Our people will say, as I said earlier, well, how old is a kid? So it's been scientifically proven, and I think we all can agree, that your kid is conscious of what they're doing by the age of 8. We're
Yeah.
not going to say at least. We're going to say by the age of 8, unless they
Yeah.
have some sort of mental condition or something like that, which you should know by the time they're 8. You know what I mean? I'm going to
Yeah.
go to some of these comments real quick. All right, those are long. If you didn't read some of those, let me see.
I
I'm gonna
can't
start
stand.
right here. I would challenge that by saying, "What's the problem with the kids who see their parents work every day? No need to hustle or want for anything, but yet they out here on drills and spinning the block."
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
I mean, just how you just said that, right? I mean, I'm not trying to challenge whoever that is, but just think about that. We now what you're doing is you're picking a certain point to make it seem like it's just about that. My whole thing, like I said, you notice I didn't say age, nothing. I went all the way to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
This is what started to happen. I'm not saying okay, the child is 14 and what. Okay, before that happened, you telling me you ain't see no flag? Come on now. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this stuff don't happen. I'm talking, we going, you can't fix a problem without going to the root or at least having an idea of a foundation of where it started from. You got to start to figure this stuff out. It's almost like psychology. What do they, for those that went to therapy, what do? They always dig all the way into your brain to find out what this is, where the trauma, where this happened. It's almost like you working your way all the way back. So now we know, okay, this is where it started. This is how we can possibly start to build. You got to get a foundation. I'm not I'm not saying whoever that was that said that. I'm not saying that, okay, the child was 13, they spent the block and this and that. Okay, well, yeah, maybe the child was 12 and already talking about guns and you overlooked it.
Now,
You don't want to hold yourself on that?
I would give a slightly different response, well, different perspective on that. I'm gonna read the question again. I would challenge that by saying, "What's the problem with the kids who see their parents work every day? No need to hustle or want for anything, but yet they out here on drills and spinning the block." My response to that is fairly short. Some of these kids see that they could get $1,500 to $5,000 for a drill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they don't understand the consequences of committing that drill. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, hold up. You mean to tell me my old head that's down here that been buying us ice cream every time the ice cream man spin through the block every day, giving back to his community, even though he's out there peddling drugs and all that. You dig what I'm saying? He can put me on a mission that takes me 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can make my mama or my daddy's weekly salary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they at work while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I don't like the, like, I'm not with the bias thing, but I respect what you're saying on that. But how I'm just looking at this is, like I said, my gears is going right now. What I'm looking at is, how the hell do your kids even know about a drill? Like, see what I'm saying? Like, I'm going back to the beginning. Like, how do you,
we discussed that, though.
I
We
get the
discussed
money
that.
part. I get the money part. I get your kids see that you're working and all that.
So
But
listen,
is it very quite possible? I'm just being fair.
you got
Is
your
it
ears
very
closed
quite?
now, Mr. Melly. You got your ears closed now
I
because we
was
just
speaking.
no. I know right now. I'm talking about earlier. We already discussed it. Is the accessibility.
Yeah.
If both the parents is at work, you have no idea what they're watching on TV,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yep.
get introduced to these behaviors. You go out and buy them the game to play to occupy them while you're not home, so they don't go out here and get in trouble. But when that 8-year-old that been playing Grand Theft Auto until he was 15,
Mm-hmm.
and his cousin came over one summer and he realized what he could actually get away with. Now Grand Theft Auto turns into real life, and you don't have a clue that the child made that shift. You dig what I'm saying? I'm not making an excuse. What I'm saying is is other ways that these kids get introduced to things, and it could be both parents in the household on their job. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yep.
saying?
Mhm.
But they're
I agree with you.
insurmountable and they're taking care of the necessity. You know what I
I
mean?
agree
So
with you.
Yep.
like uh, it's just
You-
we can continue to point, but
Can
at
I
the end
say
of the day,
something?
yes, go ahead, Miss Fatima.
So,
I'm sorry.
I just this is another thing that people have to that we have to think about too. It's conscious decisions that some people make to just go in the opposite direction, no matter whether they were, you know, told or shown the right way. Some people, some kids get caught into peer pressure. Some kids just follow the
Hmm.
crowd. Some people just want to fit in. You get what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So we have to, like you said, hold everybody accountable, but we can't negate the fact that, you know, even if you were, if you had a two-parent household or a one-parent household where the mother or the father was solid, some of these children just choose to make these decisions. So we have to go back to, you know, holding people accountable for the conscious decisions that they make to go in whatever direction. It's not always going to be on the parents sometimes, because your parents can teach you the right way, but then some people will just make that decision to say, hey, this is what I want to do because I just want to be in the in crowd, or I want to feel like I'm a part of something. Some people just, even though they have a family that loves them and cares about them, they just want to be, you know what I'm saying, that clout chaser. They want to be that dude, that chick.
Mr. Melly, it's not to discredit anything you were saying. It's just at the end of the day, is like we can't
Yeah.
pinpoint it. You dig
Mm-hmm.
what I'm
No, and
saying?
I agree. And that's why I was saying it the way I was. I was agreeing with you. I'm not. There's a million ways that kids can feel. I'm just speaking
Yeah.
as far as, like, when we talking about the masses of it. It's way to me. Now, I don't know what the numbers is. That's probably a whole nother conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's a whole lot more disaster happening because we not monitoring our kids than it
Right.
just over, okay, the kid just actually been doing this. If we could, that's almost like when you asking a question and you be like, that can't be true. I know somebody. Yeah, you know one person out of 1,000. So I'm just speaking as far as like the 1,000 that we definitely know. At the end of the day, I know for a fact, yeah, shit, I got a goddamn 19-year-old, hard headed as hell. Both of his parents was in the damn house. And it's like, so I get it. Like, how the hell did you even learn how to do that? Like, you ain't learn
Mm-hmm.
that from me or your mom. So I mean, I understand that. So I'm just speaking as far as like the big number, because your original question was, how do you stop this? So I'm speaking to masses. I'm not trying to. If we trying to figure out how we gonna get every single body, as in shooting 100%, I'm gonna tell you, we can end this live right now because that's
Yeah,
impossible.
that was never
Yeah,
it. That was never it.
exactly.
That's all I'm saying as far as my part. I'm just speaking as far as like the big number of what you're talking about. I'm not trying to discredit nobody.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say nothing because when you start talking about, okay, what about this incident, that incident? Now we breaking it down one out of what every 2,000-3,000 people. Like
No,
Mhm.
only point I was trying to get
I can't.
across was, some parents genuinely are doing everything in their power, and the kids
Yeah,
still go
absolutely,
left. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
I agree with
That's
that.
all I wanted to say. But we also know that a lot of parents have excuses for their parents. I mean, for their kids going left.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
me see. As a parent, when your child makes the shift, if you don't notice, you failed as a parent. Again, whose job is it to teach them that television isn't real, video games aren't real? It all begins and ends with the parents and how they raising these kids, especially in our community. Strongly agree.
Mhm.
Big
And,
exclusive.
and that's exactly
Um,
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Mhm.
Like it's
I,
so many different ways where you can just literally say, you said, how can we start to make a change? These us as parents gotta actually freaking start changing. Start figuring out how can what's if you want to. We know more about love language than how to talk to our kid. Think
Mhm.
about that dumb
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
We can figure out a love language, but we can't figure out how to talk to our damn kids and figure out the language that gets through to them.
yo,
We ain't
hush,
even
hush.
trying to figure out what our shit. You want to talk love language? Add that one in there. What is our child's love language? Because they definitely got one. Because like I said in the comment before, our kids don't value us or love us or respect us the way that we would like them
Yeah.
to. They respect the celebrities they look at. They respect social media. Social media, let's call it what it is. Social media is the new guide in the freaking way of living in the black community. They respect that more than they respect our parents. And I'm sorry, respect us. And that's a big problem. I don't give a damn how great you think you is. The fact of the matter is you know damn well your child is out here. You making excuses for your child robbing little boo boo done rob little black and bean
Yeah.
and all the rest of them. And it's like you want to play dumb to the fact, but then you want to ask for prayers and all that when somebody put some hands on or even take your child out of here. I don't like. I'm sorry, but right now I have a black heart to that because it's like if you were doing what you're supposed to do, there's a very good chance. But a lot of parents don't want to take that big part, and it's like you more worried about turning up in Punta Cana in Mexico. Your
Hey,
damn
big
child,
exclusive.
Yeah.
like,
Can you
come
put
on,
that
man.
comment back up there, big
Mhm.
exclusive? I didn't get
Yeah.
a chance to read it. Also, Miss Fatima, I'd like to follow up with you to support you and offer you some airtime on the network to push your agenda. I personally want to thank you for your hard work in the community. That's
Thank
from the owner of the network.
Oh,
Big,
okay. Thank
big
you. Yeah, I
exclusive.
appreciate that. Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I'll be looking forward to that. Thank
Pop,
you.
I like the idea, and I hope the people listening are motivated to join you in presenting this to local legislature and put the pressure on them to get it passed.
Hmm.
Mr. Melly, how do you feel about that solution?
What's that
What I said would be a good,
earlier
Hmm.
huh?
about earlier about holding the parents accountable for pretty much the actions?
Financially, yes.
hmm I mean, truthfully, I mean, I'm with anything that may help. I ain't gonna lie to you. Shit.
No,
If
I'm
you
saying,
think
do
it's
you
gonna
think
help,
it would help? Do you,
yeah,
do
I
you
think everything positive. Personally, I think everything positive will help if you're doing something. I
right,
think shoot, just sitting down and having a conversation with your damn child in the morning will help. What you just said, financially responsible for, if I'm not mistaken, you was talking about financially responsible for pretty much the murders, everything. Let's be honest,
property
everything,
damage,
property
hospital
damage,
bill,
robbery, everything. Yeah,
funeral, lawyer.
I
Yep.
absolutely. I think anything. Why? Because you talk about something positive. Of course, start holding people, including us, accountable for shit that's going to happen. I will tell you, of course, you know me. I like to speak in real time and reality. It's going to be a hell of a lot of pushback. Why? Because now you're starting to come at the one thing a lot of people, us
Hmm.
parents as well. We don't want to admit it, but it's quite obvious. And I'm gonna say it. I don't give a damn how people feel about it. A lot of people hold money more valuable than their own damn kid. They act like they love their kid. No, that money seems to be way more valuable than that, and you see it every single
Yeah.
day, and that's a
Yeah.
terrible thing.
Maybe they'll add some routine and structure to the kid's life
Yeah.
to
So
preserve that money.
it's going to be a whole lot of pushback on that. 'Cause like, wait a minute, you telling me I gotta pay for
I gotta be a parent.
I gotta. It's just him. I'm like,
Looking at your pockets,
you can
yeah.
imagine some of it as going. Yeah, when you start like when you find out that little secret spot that really hurt him, like, so wait a minute, I got a trip to Punta Cana next week with the girls.
Yeah.
What other
I
solution do
gotta.
you have to 500 plus murders a year though? You dig what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I mean, to be honest, man, it's for me. It's all types of different. To me, it's all types of solution. My biggest ones is just doing some shit. Like spending some damn time with your kids and figuring out why they so mad. Like it doesn't matter because at this point, it doesn't matter where you're at with them. It doesn't matter how old they are. You still got parents that's your kids is, let's just say fuck it, let's just say 15. We're just gonna take a nice simple number. 15, you ain't graduated high school yet. You in high school. This is where a lot of drama, people smoke, all that. We just gonna say 15. At 15, you can still have a conversation with your child, and we're not. You can still ask your child how you're doing, how was your day, how was this, and you're not.
Yeah.
You can start trying to. It's not your child is not too far gone at 15. It you can bottom line, you can still start to try to make some type of impact or change in your child's life.
Yeah.
We're
Layman
not
says,
doing that.
I don't personally know anyone like that. Talking about what you were saying, the kickback we would get. And Big Exclusive says, so what? A hit dog is gonna holler. We watch politicians from the top of the political food chain whoop our ass with that pen, and we don't even vote. So let them bark and thank you later when they have a kid home instead of in jail or in the grave.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I don't give a damn. I mean, I don't know who said they don't know a person like what. I'm
That
lost on
was
that one.
AOG said he don't know a person that would respond the way you was saying, like
What are you talking about?
as far as the money being worth more to them than the kid, given that
You
response
don't.
that you said.
Okay, AOG. You don't think that parents don't value money more than they value their kids? Is that what you're saying?
I think he
Because I
was more so
mean,
talking about the response that you gave. Like if this got put into play,
hmm
the
the
response that you
pushback.
said, some parents, yeah, the pushback that you said, I think that's what he was saying.
No, well, I don't know how he's taking it. What I mean by as far as the pushback is, I think it's going to be a whole lot of pushback as far as like, um, how can I put it? Just, I mean, just like I said, it's.
AOG, are you
I
available
think
to
it'll
come
work.
on
I
for
think
the
it'll
last 20
work.
minutes?
I personally think it'll work. I just think that as you see, you got parents right now. I mean, shoot, you got them right now. Let's call it what it is. You got it right now. You got parents that's not willing to talk to their kids, but they more worried about going to that trip to fucking Mexico.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
which ones did that look more? You more worried about your trip and the money and these goddamn red bottom than what's going on with your child. So when
Yeah.
you start hitting some of these parents in their wallet, it's like,
He
yeah,
responded, hell no. He said, hell no, in response to the question that you asked. And he
okay,
said,
well,
if
I
it
mean,
got put
hey,
into play, it would definitely stop the dumb shit.
Yeah.
AOJ,
then
are
we
you
agreeing on
available?
the same thing. Then, because I just said I agree with that.
No,
I'm just saying as far I'm saying with me, I'm agreeing with OG saying. I mean, you might not know no people. I mean, I know a lot of parents that put money in front of their kids. That's more important to their kids.
Yeah.
I know a lot of parents that should their jobs is more important than their kids, but they act like their kids is more important than their job.
Yeah. I think that there's just many ways that we can address the situation for solutions. Because, like what Poppy's saying, that's definitely a solution.
Yeah,
Like I
absolutely,
said
it's a
before,
solution.
I said
Hell
I
yeah,
never
it's a
thought
solution.
I said I never thought of it that way. But when you think about them, holding them accountable, but we also have to address the social ills as well with education. We have to go deeper and even try to help fix the situation. Um, and address the issues of why are they doing these things. You get what I'm saying? Like we got to
Hmm.
make counseling more accessible in the community, in African American community, and not so much of a taboo as well. We have to do things that's going to help educate them so that they can feel like they can get the financial assets that they need in order to acquire the things that they want in a certain way, that they don't have to go out here and rob and steal. So it's a lot of different ways that we can address this. It's not
I
just one
believe
way.
That's
I believe everything that you just said would
Mhm.
funnel through if we implemented this. Because
Mhm.
then the next thing would be, okay, my kid is sitting downstairs now. What do we talk about?
Mhm.
You dig what I'm saying? Then we
Yeah.
start having those conversations of, you know what I mean, about what I did to get my own business,
Yeah.
or you know what I'm saying, what school I went to get
Yeah.
this certification. You start having those conversations, you start having those communication uh topics to communicate with your child about. And as something that you touched on earlier, Melly, the kids start wanting to be like us again.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like
You dig what I'm saying?
the kids' role models is everything that I ain't gonna say everything that we're not, but when you look at it in the way it is, our kids' role models is social media. These
Yeah.
artists, these celebrities. No disrespect. I mean, I got a lot of celebrity friends, but
Yeah.
they artists is these dudes that's literally out here talking about these drills that they speaking about. They wearing, as we call them in Philly, the Pooh Shiesty mask. That
Mhm.
how you nickname this a damn, it's a ski mask, but you named it after an artist. They
Yeah. Yeah.
learned that art. Like it's called the
Yeah.
Pooh Shiesty.
Yeah.
So they walking
We
around.
got to talk
We
about the drill. We got to talk about the drill culture, though. That's going to be a
yeah.
whole
I
nother.
mean, that's
Yeah.
listen,
That's a
man, and people don't
whole
even
show.
understand. That's a
And
whole
one.
nother world that's getting even worse now. Like they ain't in. They just getting started, and
Yeah.
I don't really like talking about it that much because I came from the street life. Um, and I ain't gonna lie, they got what they doing now. They kind of sort of got us beat from what we used to do, but it's goofy, man. But the
Yeah.
thing about it though is like I said, is exactly that. Like I'm just looking at like from the very beginning, like these kids, like we don't even sit down. Like it's sad, and I'm starting to stutter because I'm just thinking about all the kids that I know that I've been talking to and other friends of mine talking to. They
Hmm.
not even talking to these kids, and these kids just be like, "Look, man, I just want to just I want a dad, man. I want a big brother. I want to. They literally saying they don't even be wanting much. They just want some attention from somebody that they love, and a lot of us parents are not giving it to them. They
Hmm.
want to. They see the money. They see the social media, and the crazy thing about it, let's really call a spade a spade. Now, this era where we at now is so easier now to get money and to make money, and these kids want it. And it's like if you play the game smart, you and your kid can get money together.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
Let's
Absolutely.
call
AOG.
a spade a spade.
Yep.
AOG,
You
and we
and your kid
available.
can get money, man. And
Hmm.
we not doing that. We ain't even thinking about that. These kids see this like, damn, little such and such. The young boy that owns Spurgo. I think he's 16 now. I forgot his name.
Hmm.
Him and his mom built that, and he was like 13. That's
Hmm.
$1 million company now. Spurgo. Y'all can pull it up.
I know what you're talking about. You from West Philly.
Like, yeah, like so when it's like all the opportunities, it's way easier than it was when we was coming up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now you got more young kids that got the opportunity to be millionaires and all this stuff like that. Because a lot of these kids, they just really want to get money and be loved. They don't, I ain't even gonna front. When you think about it, it ain't even really many. Excuse my language, no disrespect, sweetheart. It ain't really even that many pregnant females or people getting pregnant that much as it is people that these people out here that's really trying to get money, both men, boys and girls. Like it's like everybody is really trying to be getting money and being loved.
Not to cut you off, but to cut you off, Melly, because we went 3 minutes past where I wanted to start this final segment. Um, I want to go into the final part of this communication thing, and it's a fine time for me to run through the list of shows on the network with AOG show being last because that has something to do with the topic.
Hmm.
So, for everybody that's tuned in right now, make sure you tune in each and every day to the big exclusive network, except Saturdays for right now. We're gonna start on Sundays. On Sunday, we have Philadelphia Eagles Game Day Special from 10 to 12, hosted by myself, Miss Key Holmes, Jamal Jackson, and Big Roll. And then Sunday night, you have the show that you're watching right now, the Poppy Montega Show. Sometimes you might get Kanye East, you might get Brethren Samuels, but today you're getting some seriousness. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., sometimes longer. We have Keeping It Real with Big Roll in the AM. I don't know what's going on here. Keeping It Real, Big Roll in the AM. each and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday evening, we have Think Different TV, hosted by Lashia, each and every Monday night at 9 p.m. Tuesday evenings, we have Big Exclusive Podcast, hosted by Big Exclusive, Angry OG, and comedian Top Flight. Wednesday night, we have The Rabbit Hole 13, hosted by Taj Mahal, Bianca Monroe, and they call him Mr. Cheese. Every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Thursday nights at 9, we have Foreplay with B, hosted by Miss Bianca Monroe. Once again, this is for adult conversation only. But last but not least, we have a show premiering this week on the network, Wednesday at 8. Angry OG will be bringing to you The Formula. For those of y'all that don't know, The Formula, to my knowledge, my understanding, what I get from it will be all about what's broken between the male and female relationships. As you can see, you have the guy standing at the board here. He's struggling to understand. That's what those equations was. He was trying to figure out the relationships. And I wish the picture was still up there so y'all could see something I pointed out earlier. He's so stressed out, his knuckles was turning white. I don't know if y'all seen it, but when you start reading little things on people, little nervous twitches and stuff like that, that's one thing you pay attention to. Clenching of the hands, sweaty palms, knuckles turning colors, different stuff like that. But anyway, I want to move to the last segment. We have about 14 minutes left, and this is something that definitely has to do with what we was talking about, but it's another aspect of it. Be it a two-parent household or a co-parenting situation, or either step-parent situation. In you guys' opinion, starting with you, Miss Fatima, what can we do to change the communication within the culture of our men and women?
We have to stop pointing fingers at each other. I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that men are always talking about what women are doing wrong, and women are always talking about what men are doing wrong. We have to come together and have more compassion for each other, have more compassion for what happened to us as a people, and understand each other and understand why we're going through what we're going through and repair it with love. So I think it's compassion that we're going to need to have, and stop pointing the finger and just basically having these conversations and being open to be able to hear some things that might not sound good, but we have to be open.
And that's what I was about. That was going to be my rebuttal when you were saying, you just said that men are saying all the things that women are doing, and women are saying all the things that men are doing. Presenting it that way sound like it's a nag, but at the same time, it's some validity from both parties.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we actually have to listen to what the other party is saying, and once again try to come up with a solution versus the name calling. AOG just says it starts with accountability. You know what I mean? Something that I've dealt with from a man standpoint with women when you're trying to communicate is always the extra sauce. At the end, you dig what I'm saying? Like, you'll be communicating, you'll say something, she's, you know what I'm saying, say it, and then she'll say something, and y'all communicating just well, and then right when you feel like y'all have an understanding, she got to throw that extra sauce in there and then just throw off the whole hour and a half of y'all sitting there talking. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, Mr. Melly. What say you?
I agree with the young lady. All of that. I would even say, above that, you gotta respect each other, man.
Absolutely.
That people don't understand that. I think respect is one of the biggest things that a lot of people, especially in our culture, that both men and women, they're not doing. Why? I have no idea, but it's clearly an obvious thing that's destroying it. Like, Women don't respect us. If you want to say we don't respect them, and it's just not working. We're not leaving, as she just said, we're not leaving no room. Like we need to also take out ego and pride.
You know what?
Um,
I'm gonna set the example right now. I'm sorry you got to be the first victim, Mr. Melly.
go for it.
Um, you just do a little of that sauce in there that I was talking about women do. You said women don't respect us. If you want to say we don't respect women, no, some of us don't respect women. You dig what I'm saying? This is a part of that self accountability. Some men don't respect women just like some women don't respect men. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
absolutely right.
But that
Hmm.
little extra part right there is not to highlight you. It's just to highlight
No, no,
the actual.
no.
Say, I want people to be able to identify what I mean by the extraness. You dig what I'm saying? That was the part right there. But go ahead.
To
What you
be
saying?
honest, no, to be honest, that was great, man. Salute to you for doing that because you're absolutely right. I'll even tell you what happened with that. Uh, be- I put myself in that situation. Like I respect everybody, so like sometimes it's kind of hard trying to be on like the outside, But
Hmm.
yeah, so I rephrase that. We don't respect each other. Men don't respect women. Women don't respect men. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't lead. Like I said, we got to take pride and ego out of it too. We let both of that get the best of us, and which also makes things where it's like it's just a domino effect of all that, and they all go hand in hand. And also, I think we need to leave room for, like you said, that we need to leave room for error and growth because yeah, you might say something that might be very freaking valid and could work. But because of the pride and the ego and maybe, the respect, I think those are probably the top three, at least for me, is the reason why we ain't getting nowhere. We can listen to everybody else. We can work with damn near everybody else except us, except our culture. Why? I have no idea, but I definitely see those three seem to be the top ones between the respect, the accountability, and the pride and ego, both of them, being on the same thing. I think those three together just pretty much are a downfall. So I think we need to change all three of those.
Now this well, Miss Lily says, "Pop, you know we extra." Yes, y'all are, Miss Lily. And Lamont is agreeing with I guess the call out. He said that's a fact, Jack. Um, you just made me think of something else. Do we start with fixing that line of communication first, as far as fixing the culture?
What do you mean?
The men and the women actually trusting each other again and communicating with each other again. Won't that carry over to the children?
Yeah, that's where it starts. Absolutely.
Come
I
on, Melly. I hear
No,
you.
no, no, no,
I know
no,
you
no,
agree.
no. The reason why I'm kind of I would say yeah, but the only a little part of me would say no, only because if you're looking at like you do actually, the reality turn you have some single family, family household. So it's like how can you respect or somebody else that's not there?
But the
Like
thing
you
about
had,
it is,
so that's why
whether
just a little bit of it is like
a lot of
I'm not
times,
saying don't. If the opportunity is there, absolutely, wholeheartedly, absolutely. But if no disrespect, if Pop is locked up or Mom is out, what do you
now
respect? That's what I'm
I
talking about.
understand
So
the locked up situation, but here's the thing. A lot of times within our culture, even though the parents may be separated, the fact that one parent isn't around is because of how one parent is acting. You dig what I'm saying? So
no, no, I got that. I'm talking
it's
about
still a
going. Like I didn't
communication.
want. I was talking about going. Like I wasn't. I ain't want to say it on there, but I'm talking about like going like in deceased. Like
Oh, okay.
that's what I'm talking about. I was going that far, but as far
Well,
as
I
like
mean,
if they still
everybody's
alive,
parents,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I'm that absolutely. I'm talking about as far as like if they're deceased, then
hmm
Let me see. Everybody wants
that
to
way.
be right and nobody wants to be wrong. So that's where most of the conflict comes from. That's from this idea. Big Exclusive says, Bigs up to you, Pop. It starts with us being the example, support one another, respect one another, and be the change we want to see. 100% agree with you there. Miss Fatima,
Yes.
being as though you was such a pleasant guest and you stuck around and you had a lot to offer today. Um, it's 10:54. We're going to wrap up at 11 o'clock, but right now I want to extend you the time to talk about anything you have going on, share your social media, tell people the services that you provide. If you want to go into that once again, right now would be the time.
All right. Thank you for having me, Poppy. I appreciate being on the show. I definitely just want to let everyone know that my mission, my purpose is to empower the community with valuable life skills, career training, and financial literacy so that we can help bridge this gap of the social and the economic disadvantage, that's in our community. So if anyone is interested in empowerment coaching, teen empowerment coaching, adult coaching, just learning more about financial literacy, whether it be business credit or financial credit, you can find me on Instagram under the Divine Coach One. On Facebook, I'm under Divine Intervention Life Coaching and Credit Solutions. I do have an 800 number, which is 800-679-1932. And I take, calls, toll-free calls as well. I have I'm open for dialogue and conversation with people because I want to stop some of the drama, the traumatization, the just a lot of things that are going on in our community. I want to empower us to be financially independent so we don't have to struggle and we don't have to go to the illegal sources. So I help people with financial literacy so that you can go out here. If you are a teenager, when you become an adult, you'll have a credit line instantly. So I want to just basically, thank you for allowing me to come on the show. And I'm here to be able to help anyone with any life changes that they need as well.
Thank you, Miss Fatima. Miss Lily says, yes, thank you, Fatima. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank
Melly left. He had a call that came in. I was going to allow him to talk some stuff real quick. But it was great speaking with you and having me on, Mr. Poppy Montega. Salute to Miss Fatima. That was from Mr. Melly Schuler.
Oh, thank you.
Big exclusive. Can't thank you enough, good brother, for providing us the platform, bro. We're growing. We're growing. We're steady watering. You know what I'm saying? However you want to see it, brick by brick. We building. We growing. Everybody staying down. We're seeing the progress. I want to thank you on what I think was a very good show, very good dialogue about the urban violence. And for the people that's tuned in, it don't stop here. This is the bare minimum of what we can do as a culture. You dig what I'm saying? But what comes from conversations are ideas. What comes from conversations are understanding. What comes from conversations in a lot of cases, not all, but a lot of cases, is action.
Yes.
You dig what I'm saying? And I think we all can agree that we haven't been seeing no action because we haven't been having these conversations. We've been watching people of other cultures have conversations about what we need to do and what we should do for the betterment of us. And it ain't working. It ain't working. That's right. Plant the seed and let's water it and give it the sunlight so it can bloom into change. About that action, boss. Ooh, that East Rutherford Midgets fans sound a lot like Nick Sirianni there, but I'm gonna leave that for Sunday. Go Birds. We still undefeated. But yeah, this is the bare minimum of what we can do as a culture. And like I said, this can spark ideas. See, you had to go. Hey man, you said it, watering the seed and all that. You know that's Nikki. But yeah, we gotta have these conversations. At something I want to reiterate that you pointed out, Miss Fatima, is the communication with the children.
Yes.
People communicate with your kids. And communicate don't mean talking at, it don't mean being a dictator. It means having a conversation with your child, allowing them to express themselves through conversation. Now, of course, have some barriers and make sure they maintain self control, but your kid shouldn't be fearful to express how someone makes them feel or even how you make them feel. And that starts with communicating with your child.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
can be very communicative without being offensive. And that part right there, we all need to practice communicating without being offensive.
Yeah,
Because one thing we know is as soon as somebody is offended, they don't hear nothing else you said. You could have said 9 things that was on point. That 10th thing just canceled out everything else that you said.
yeah.
So we got to find a way to communicate without being offensive. And on the flip side of it, we have to find a way to communicate without taking offense. We watch them put stores in our community and build their wealth off our dollar. True indeed. AOG, riddle me this. They say we broke and poor, yet they keep putting stores in our neighborhoods. Message: the black dollar is powerful. Spend it wisely, aka with black business. I want to give you one more example of something that you just said, and then we out of here, big exclusive. I have a friend, right? He has a clothing line. Matter of fact, I may bring him on so he can share. But he calls me his mentor. He's younger than me. I met him coaching football, and we maintained a personal relationship. And he sat down and said something to me last week. He said, "Yo, bro, like it's crazy. Like we really don't support our own people. Like we really don't buy black.
Yeah.
Like my friends, my this, my that." And I'm like, you know what, bro? I was having the same issue, and I really, really broke it down and thought about it. They don't make money off their own people.
Hmm. There you go.
We sell into our own culture. They don't sell to their own culture. Do their own culture support? Yes. Yes. Chinese people go to the Chinese store. Not often, but they go to the Chinese store. Arabians go to gas stations and get gas. However you want to break it down. But black people constantly try to sell to black people. We're not trying to sell to the other cultures.
Mm.
So that's a shift as a culture that I feel like we need to make. They already got our market and it's successful. We look at every other culture, their biggest success come from selling to another culture. Why not we do the same?
Yeah.
Where do Chinese people get gas from? Hey, your guess is as good as mine. They make it for all I know. They make it with the oil from the chicken wings and all that stuff. But that's a whole nother conversation. I'm Poppy Montega. Thank you once again, Miss Fatima,
Thank
for
you.
sticking around for the 2 hours. This is the Poppy Montega show on a big exclusive network, and we're done here. Good night.